Do you want to have a packed co-writing schedule? Then do this. Co-writing is the best way to write music. Not only do you get the best songs, but you also build the relationships that will sustain a career. Of course, it's critical to be a great songwriter, but it is equally, if not more important, to understand the dynamic of being a great co-writer, because the more we can understand that dynamic, the more we're going to get invited back into rooms. Because yes, great songwriting gets you in the door, but being a great co-writer, a great hang, will get you invited back in over and over again, which will result in more co-written songs, which will result in your songs going further, reaching more people. It all points back to being a great songwriter, but then also understanding the dynamic of being a great co-writer. So in this video, I wanted to talk through 9 ways to be a great co-writer, because when you can master the skills of being a co-writer, the possibilities are endless for you on your songwriting journey. So let's jump into point number 1. So number 1 is be generous. Always bring something to the party. Like the incredible Tony Wood says, always bring a gift to the party. And that way you are contributing from the beginning. You have an idea. And yes, our ideas may not end up being the thing that gets used, but it may be the thing that sparks the idea that grows in the session. So always having something in mind. So if you're a lyricist, maybe having a title or even some fleshed out lyrics. Maybe if you're a track person, you have a track idea. Maybe you have a progression or a cool vibe that you want to present to the group. But I think having that idea is so critical, and being generous and not holding it close to the chest, because so many people get stuck on they don't want to give out their big ideas because they're afraid that someone will steal them. And that is not the case in a co-writing environment. Sure, these things have happened and can happen, but by being generous, being open-handed, presenting your best ideas to the group, that will ultimately lead to the best idea being chased and the best idea winning, that will result in the greatest song. And that all starts by being generous. And number 2 is be open-handed. Now, this means when you come in and you bring that gift to the party and maybe it's not getting picked up, maybe it's just not resonating with the room, and being open-handed is being okay with that, not clinching too tightly to any one idea that we throw out. Because yes, sometimes we feel very passionate about an idea. We definitely want to make that known, but if we can kind of sense that it's not really resonating in this current co-write room, then be okay with it, just laying it down and moving on to the next thing, and maybe chasing after that other idea that someone threw out. Because the thing is not only is this a great way to keep the vibe moving and the energy moving, but you can also take that idea back and you can bring it to another co-write, or you can write it in a solo write if it's not resonating with other co-writers. I think being open-handed is one of the most important parts about being a good co-writer, because walking into a room where everybody is sort of stuck on their ideas and you're just sort of fighting and you're sort of going back and forth, no one will let their ideas down. You're not going to get a lot accomplished, and all you're going to do is kind of build some unnecessary tension. So be open-handed and be a great co-writer. And number 3 is be prepared. When it's time to start the co-write, be there. If it's a Zoom co-write, be on time, be ready to jump in. If it's an in-person, get there when you need to get there. Now, if you're someone like me who likes to present track ideas during a co-write, make sure that your session, your DAW is loaded, ready to go. Make sure that your camera and your lighting is straight. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you are co-write ready, then do that ahead of time. Get everything in place 10, 15 minutes early, whatever that takes for you to be prepared. That's a huge thing, especially in a professional setting. So have everything you need ready to go so that you can be prepared to be ready for the write. Number 4 is be fair. Now, there's many schools of thoughts on songwriting splits, but what I've learned personally through all the people I've written with in the Nashville songwriting scene is equal splits is the way to go. This can really move out any competition, because competition can be the killer of creativity. So if we all know coming into the co-write that we are going to have equal splits no matter what we do in that day, then we kind of set that out, and then everyone can just push forward, move ahead, and go towards the best idea. Because as we're co-writing more and more, there's going to be some days when we might feel like we didn't have as much to offer, but other days we might feel like we contributed a lot. So the sum of all of these things will ultimately lead to the most fair way to approach each session. And like I said, it'll remove any type of competition, because we're all working towards the same goal. Instead of it being a one-on-one sprint, we're basically running a marathon resulting in the best song. So be fair and be a great co-writer. Number 5 is be mindful. Now, what do I mean by that? Being mindful is just being aware. Now, this is something that kind of plays into the bit of the sociology aspect of co-writing. You can kind of feel out the vibe, feel out the room. Are people kind of going in one direction? And are you going to decide to kind of fight against that? Or are you going to kind of lean into that and chase that down? Because you might have had some great idea about writing some really high energy, epic song that came in, but then you kind of come in and the vibe of your group is a little bit down. Maybe somebody had something happen and they're feeling a little sad and they want to write something a little bit more slowed down, introspective, and maybe cinematic or something different than what you thought originally that you were in the mood to write. Now, yes, can you offer up elements of what you were chasing after? Of course you can. But by being mindful of the room, you can kind of understand the best direction to go, because songs are living things. You know, you're creating in real time. This thing is happening in the room a lot of times. So by being mindful of that, you will ultimately be able to chase down the best vibe for that particular co-write. And you can bring that other epic big song idea that you originally wanted to chase into the next co-write, or again, into a solo write, whatever that looks like. But being mindful is a really good way to feel out the vibe and be in the moment as a co-writer. Hey there, quick favor, please poke the like button. We've been making a lot of content the past few weeks. We want to share our knowledge with other aspiring, passionate musicians. And smashing the like button is the best way for this video content and channel to reach others, and I would really appreciate it, so smash it. Number 6 is be listening. It can be very tempting to kind of go inward and start messing around with the perfect lyric or progression. If you're in the producer chair, start working on the track. And yes, this is all a part of the song as a whole, but if we can keep our ears open and be listening, we might catch that one thing that can propel the song to the next level, because there's internal processors and external processors. So a lot of external processors might just be saying things out there that may seem unrelated, but when we keep our ears open, we have the opportunity to catch that line, and that can be the thing. So that's why it's so important to always be listening to be a great co-writer. And number 7 is be vulnerable. Now, this might be the most difficult part if you're anything like me, an introvert, to where we're kind of opening up and letting people into our worlds. But I have a firm belief that the best songs come from real places, and the only way that those real places can be exposed is through being vulnerable. Usually the first 30 minutes to even an hour sometimes can just be talking and hanging out and catching up with friends in a co-write, which leads into an unknown amount of topics that can be discovered and leaned into for the co-write. Now, it can be especially difficult to be vulnerable if you're writing with people for the first time, but I think just having the confidence to know that you are in that room at that time for this particular song and leaning into that and just letting people know, it doesn't mean you have to air all your dirty laundry, but just being open and honest or asking questions. You might notice that one of your co-writers seems a little down or seems a little excited. Maybe just ask them some questions of what is kind of causing that, where are they at in their life, and then they might be the ones to be open about that, and you can write towards that. But being vulnerable is a key element to being a great co-writer. Number 8 is be humble. Now, in the room you're in, you might be the most experienced or you may be the least experienced writer in the room. And that's okay, whichever the direction, because it's great to be around people who have gone before you, and it's great to be that person for others. So by being humble, no matter what, that we're all writing a song together, we're all on the same playing field, no matter our experiences or how much we've done and accomplished on our songwriting journey, staying in a place of humility is key to honestly building trust. And there's a lot of trust that goes into songwriting together, because if we know we can trust one another with our ideas and our thoughts, then the best ideas will come out, because you might be working with someone you never worked with before and they might be kind of nervous to share their ideas, but if they can sense that you're a humble person who's open to the ideas that are in the room and you're not trying to say like, I'm the best, or look what I've done, just kind of follow me, then they'll start to put out their ideas, and everybody's ideas are all very important when it comes to creating the best song. So being humble is a very important part about being a great co-writer. And before we get to the last point, let me tell you about this really awesome thing called Song Chasers. If you're looking to up your songwriting game through focused teaching and a highly active community of smart and hardworking musicians, Song Chasers is the place for you. Click the link in the description to find out more about the Song Chasers community. And number 9 is be fun. Now, songwriting is a fun thing to do. It's exciting and it's very fulfilling. And nothing can get you invited back to more rooms than by being fun. You want to be a good hang. Now, of course, it's a serious thing. There's times to be serious, but also it should be light. It should be easy because you're creating music with other people. So being fun is so important because we all know that if we have a fun person that we've hung out with, even outside of songwriting, you want to hang out with that person again because it was a good time. If you can bring the good time to a co-writing session, then you're going to get invited to a lot of songwriting sessions. So that's why being fun is a really critical part about being a great co-writer. So I hope this helps shed some light on co-writing. Yes, being a great songwriter is a given, but there is so much more to it. And these co-writing relationships that you build from every session that you're in will be the thing that will help sustain your career. Because think about it, having a bunch of people that you can write songs with and that those songs can be ending up in the hands of artists or in your own artistry or whatever the case may be, those are the things that build a career. So by understanding these principles, it will help set you up for success as a co-writer. And I want to know, how often do you co-write? Comment below. And if you like this video and want to see more just like it, head to my channel at Bryan Bolivar, and I'll see you on the next video.